Nostradamus, what a legend. 2023 warning, content is distressing. What Nostradamus was really doing was tuning in, as only humans can do, readily telepathically, to human equivalent species elsewhere in the galaxy, and documenting them launching radiation weapons, particularly meteorite nuclear bombs, towards Earth. Nostradamus was then attempting to use the information to predict when the bombs would arrive in the inner planets area of our star system and possibly hit Earth, and document it all. Repeat references to 4 objects in each paragraph are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. People who interpreted some of Nostradamus' documents as the prediction of the possible end of all things, meaning human extinction at the least, were correct in that assumption. It was the attempt to document when a huge string of nuclear meteorite-like bombs would hit Earth, possibly being the end of our species, or all evolved life with a brain. To abbreviate things, the end of things was named Shoemaker-Levy 9 by us humans when discovered by telescope. It was the big one, the possible end of all human or brain life on Earth weapons launch at Earth. It was plotted and found it was going to hit Jupiter in 1993. It missed the intended target, our massive planet Earth, and hit Jupiter instead, carefully documented with minimal equipment by us humans. I thought footage of humans getting data and seeing the first images of it hitting Jupiter was really weird. Now I know why. The species that launched it was overexcitedly waiting for psychic descriptions of it hitting Earth and got descriptions of sideways on images of it hitting Jupiter. They expected hitting Earth descriptions and panic. Interesting viewing, sort of. So, the Doomsday end of all things big one missed. Everybody needs to get a life on this one as soon as possible. Human extinction due to the big Doomsday one hitting is not inevitable, it's a not happening scenario since 1993. It missed, end of story. The species that launched it got telescope confirmation it didn't hit Earth and hit Jupiter instead in 2021 to 22. That makes them around 27 to 29 light years away in the plottable direction their weapons launch came from. They would be devastated, the evil trash. Almost breathless, devoid of something, we waited centuries and it missed, open-mouthed, silent horror opera scream looking wobbling up and down heads thing. Crescent moon-like images of their earthbound weapons hitting Jupiter and they missed. The evil scum are shattered. As part of it all, when the weapons were in transit towards Earth over hundreds of years back towards Nostradamus times, they tried to talk humans on Earth into getting ready. Behave as if you can do whatever you think of regardless of acceptability because the big one Doomsday human extinction event is 1993, so people tried to run amok as if unsure when it would arrive, but certain there would be nothing we could do. The good-intentioned space race is all part of it too. There will be more on a smaller scale heading our way. As part of telling inevitable outside-caused extinction is coming zombie-like types what to be ready for, they told them to get prepared. They said after Doomsday big one hits, spread diseases amongst the survivors, if any, in the worldwide nuclear fallout, and it should cause the wipeout of humans by the end of the 21st century as we know it, hopefully. They, the zombie-likes, were thinking, without a firm date, just when it inevitably happened, that they would start spreading after experimenting beforehand. The start date for spreading was intended to be, by the evil scum that launched the weapons, 1993. Examples of them being ready, and going ahead anyway without the Doomsday actually happening, and missing in the key year of 1993. The coronavirus pandemic, and other epidemics including fake ones. 9 known strains of coronavirus and billboard internet updates. It was bad, but the Doomsday didn't hit. They probably thought we'd be getting internet updates on hundreds of millions or billions of survivors of the Doomsday getting ill and dying en masse in huge numbers. Documented like a bad tabloid media internet updated human extinction show for all to watch. Nearly 7 million deaths until the 14th of December, 2023 in the official pandemic count. If the Doomsday big one had hit Earth in nuclear inferno like we saw them hit Jupiter, how many would have been left and then died in that case? 100 times as many from the survivors. 300 times. We are talking the apocalypse nuts as people colloquially know the loser zombie-likes worldwide. I immediately think of that movie 12 Monkeys and the lunatic releasing the airborne pathogen towards the end of the film that caused the start. The apocalypse zombies went ahead and spread them all anyway, as if like pre-programmed robots waiting for the start day, starting 1994-ish and are still at it. We developed tests for the COVID-19 pandemic diseases and then attempted vaccines. The good intentions still exist and the tests are a crucial breakthrough. And the big UNDOOMSY isn't on its way. It missed in 1993. Factor the apocalypse zombies into everything in your life and keep in mind that the Doomsday isn't happening. They are just going through the repugnant motions as if they don't understand the change of future course. Staring wildly, poisoning the food, nuclear waste, etc. The other thing to mention here, as horrifying as it is nuclear tests. Listen up here. Nuclear weapons have been being fired at Earth from elsewhere in the galaxy, other star systems, for many centuries. They have only really been missing or hitting the atmosphere for a maximum of 200 to 250 years in any large numbers. There were some big interstellar nukes hit and detonate in the 1800s. Most of the time, they don't actually go off in the atmosphere and are reported as meteorites burning up in the sky. It is okay to relax a bit on that one. The larger ones very rarely go off. The smaller ones, when they hit, have been going off and lighting fires with radioactive smoke and some fallout. Lots of people know that taste in the mouth thing when there was a fire around that was actually caused by a small nuke fired at Earth from elsewhere in the galaxy. When the first interstellar nukes hit Earth and went off in the 1800s approximately, the apocalypse zombies cranked it up a notch, declared the horrible sudden end would inevitably begin in 1993, and went completely crazy. Have been ever since. They are now obsolete in their assumptions since 1993. There is a nuclear war on in our region of the galaxy. We here on supermassive Earth are one of the lunatic extraterrestrials' main targets. We can put them away regarding the at each other on Earth thing now. People need to face up to one very difficult fact of debate here that is extreme to say the least. Apocalypse zombie nutters may have been detonating one nuclear test on Earth. For every nuclear weapon fired at Earth from elsewhere in the galaxy that missed our planet, or hit and burnt up without a detonation, as if compensating the extrasolar human equivalent species that fired them at us on Earth for them not going off in the atmosphere. 1 for 1. Whilst waiting for what turned out to be Shoemaker-Levy 9 the Doomsday to hit Earth, which missed and hit Jupiter in 1993. Which eliminated the big Doomsday 1 scenario as we all knew rumors of. The intangibly closer the Doomsday-Levy 9 got to arriving in 1993, the more secretly loony their who cares we're inevitably doomed behaviors got. The evil extrasolar human equivalence plans for apocalypse zombies to spread disease and kill the survivors after 1993 are completely defunct in evil purpose, including all plans to weaken immune systems worldwide as much as possible whilst waiting for the Doomsday in 1993 and then spread diseases to kill the survivors off starting 1994. Horribly pointless evil behavior, and everyone is feeling the reality strain of it being for nothing for 30 years since they missed. Satellite weapons were all part of the preparations according to the zombie likes. The apocalypse zombies have gone ahead anyway as if we got hit with hundreds of interstellar launched nukes in 1993 and it's time to kill the survivors with diseases by the end of 2099. Factor it into your daily it's not inevitable, it's the past and we caught a break in 1993, life. Redefinition of the word zombie if not the original intended definition lost in time and lunacy somewhere. A person who behaves as if very sudden complete human extinction is inevitable due to weapons fired at Earth we can do nothing about when they hit, who behaves as if anything goes, no matter how inappropriate in the meantime. Particularly attempts to experiment to finish the survivors off after an event is confirmed as Doomsday Big One. No future for our species, just might not happen in their lifetime. Not happening zombies. They missed. Get a life people. Reality, if they launch another attempt now, we may have up to 600 to 900 years to figure out what we can do about it, for that one. Need to be alert for the smaller ones now. I would like to do something a little weird different here and say that I personally would like to thank people and beings from interstellar evolved species who tried to prevent nuclear weapons launched at Earth from getting here or going off in some way before, during, or after launch from their star system. I am assuming some of them are horribly oppressed on their planets by the perpetrators in the evil space agency regime scenario. So a quick thank you. When I think of the concept, I think of movie footage of sabotage of rocket launches, satellites and evil technology, for the good reasons, even if the characters always seem to be apocalypse zombies in the films. There is one particular fake epidemic that springs to mind, that is the atypical stereotypical extinction extremists go to plan to weaken immune system for the aftermath, kill the survivors program starting 1993. They went ahead with it anyway, completely pointlessly, and can seem like totally purposeless walking wastes of time just casually hanging around till the end of the world that is not possible now anymore. They frustrate the freak show out of everyone, and like being seen at pointless corruption-ruined sports events, particularly on TV, even if they aren't really there. As a doozy of an end note, information existed, carefully compiled over decades, that suggested a human equivalent species that had traveled from another star system hundreds of years ago was found hidden in one of the polar regions of Saturn in some kind of constructed vehicle inside Saturn's atmosphere. The theory was that they were using the magnetic field of Saturn to exist inside the vehicles. It provided them with the usual magnetic field shielding, as it does for us on Earth, and is required to grow plants and also to conceive and gestate children. They also had an abundance of electricity supplied to the outside of the vehicle by static discharge, lightning, from the atmosphere of Saturn to the vehicle's exterior. Their intrusion into our solar system caused the usual set non-hereditary genetic spread percentages to appear to vary slightly on Earth, because their species was included in the numbers when they entered our star system. They used that idea to attempt to introduce a false concept of a Gandalf god to Earth, and peddled the incorrect idea that evolution in a star system could be changed from its usual universal path, via using the slightly altered numbers in the spread that included the intruder's conceptions as an intellectual pry bar. Their vehicles contributed towards a strange polar vortex seen in satellite images taken of one of Saturn's poles. That information became more and more plausible as images started rolling in from the Cassini mission to Saturn in 2004. In theory, the intruders were in some kind of composite vehicle, possibly made up of smaller vehicles joined together. Guesses included a Star Trek Enterprise-shaped vehicle body, but made of a group of Hindenburg-like airships lashed together point to point, with a cosmic debris impact-proof cover, similar to something like bulletproof vest Kevlar material. Best guess was they arrived around 900 plus years ago, immediately introducing the false notion of a inherently superior being to Earth humans existing that all humans must defer to. Cheeky invading intruder talk. They interfered with everything where they could, and we did the inevitable and learnt things as a result. It was all the more confusing for us on Earth as they arrived and settled inside Saturn's atmosphere over 200 years before the Doomsday end of all things nuclear weapons attack on Earth was launched at our planet from around 27 to 28 light-years away. They were already here inside our star system. The nuclear weapons attack turned out to be Shoemaker-Levy 9, over 40,000 nuclear weapons launched at Earth in the 1200s approximately, which missed Earth and hit Jupiter in 1993 after taking over 700 years to get here. Stop the Doomsday Clock. As more and more detailed information was compiled in the 2000s, casual questions were asked of people as if in jest. If someone told you that aliens were hiding in our star system in Saturn for 1,000 years, what would you do? With the inevitable question, what are they waiting for? They are just sitting there having babies. The emotional response from anyone asked was an immediate kill. Kill them all. Unofficially speaking, nuclear weapons were launched from Earth that arrived, hit the polar region of Saturn involved, and detonated successfully inside Saturn's atmosphere during the last quarter of 2022. Probably not without so much as a ring disturbed, but close enough. They are gone even if assumed they were not really there at all. Both the arrival of the intruding invading species and the launch of the Doomsday end of all things nuclear weapons attack on Earth happened before humans invented the telescope on Earth. People like Nostradamus tried to document what they psychically sensed was being launched or done as best they could. I give Nostradamus a mention again, because it was clearly one of the best attempts to document a planned weapons launch at Earth by a species in a different star system, as it happened, or shortly afterwards, ever. The invading species has only been gone since late 2022. We have some adjusting to do since our successful defense of our planet and the Doomsday launch missing and hitting Jupiter in 1993. The extended theory of their arrival in our solar system is 3 objects in our star system. They are Europa, Titan, and Triton. They did not form in our solar system. They were moved to it and arrived around 1,000 years ago, 900 plus, before the telescope was invented on Earth. Triton, moon of Neptune, just happens to be around the same relative size to Mars as Earth's moon is to Earth, a little larger. Europa and Titan appear to be most of the substances that could be used to attempt to make Mars an Earth-like planet if Triton were moved into a moon-like orbit first. But it is more complicated than that, with Mars having no crust sphere like Earth's. Or a renovate Earth after a disaster of some type, bank of substances in the more evil-themed failed invader scenario. Those substances are useful, as is how they got here to our star system. Any organisms that evolved elsewhere in the galaxy in the 3 objects can't do us any real harm. They will not evolve into more invaders or anything. Amoeba, etc. There is definitely rudimentary life that likely evolved in another star system on Titan, living in Saturn's magnetic field. There may also be frozen things of sci-fi-like proportions and the hint of technology in there somewhere too. Triton, Titan, and Europa. They are ours now regardless. I am guessing the species who launched them to our solar system would be outraged that a probe gently drifted down to the surface of Titan, left a massive crater when it landed in the frozen nitrogen silt, and then sent back data including pictures on the 14th January 2005. There is no interstellar intruder species hiding in Saturn biding its time to an attempted takeover of Earth anymore. If that was the scenario prior to 2022. All I can think of is the idea that when people communicated with them, they always claimed to be stuck there for some reason, as if helpless. Back to the Doomsday that never happened in the end. People who were intergenerationally trained to claim there was nothing that could be done to stop Shoemaker-Levy 9 hitting Earth and causing human extinction for the over 700 years it took to arrive, started pretending nothing could be done after becoming aware of its launch. The correct was to say it psychically aware. They started claiming people should be allowed to do anything people wanted, regardless of how offensive, illegal, damaging, environment-destroying, or violent it was. They escalated their inappropriate behavior more and more as it traveled towards Earth, the Doomsday end of all things weapon. Late in its travels, during the 1800s and 1900s, they started behaving as if they had been given the job of stopping humans inventing something that could be used for a low percentage of success attempt to deflect it and make it miss Earth, saving us all. Then killing off any survivors with disease and nuclear material after it hit, if any survived. It manifested itself as World War I and World War II and the current problems on Earth. They are pretending they are killing off the survivors as if it hit Earth in around 1993, right now. Including the recent pandemic of COVID-19 viruses. They waited for the small fallow weapons to hot Earth. When they did, they spread COVID-19 virus strains on Earth, put up a death toll scoreboard on the internet and media, and waited to see if hundreds of millions died, maybe even 1 billion. Fake disease epidemics with modern technology started before 1993 were just excuses to weaken immune systems to hasten what turned out to be the not inevitable extinction of humans on Earth starting approximately 1993 when it missed and hit Jupiter. They all hit an intellectual wall problem during its 700-plus year path towards Earth. At some point it became mathematically certain that physics of the situation would mean Shoemaker-Levy 9 would miss and hit Jupiter. That became the inevitable reality of it well before it was discovered heading for our solar system by humans. When there was a mathematical chance it would hit Earth, they seemed evil, but otherwise in control. When it became inevitable it would miss Earth and hit Jupiter, 300 years before it arrived as an example, they went insane. Because they were suddenly lying when they said it would hit Earth and there was nothing anyone could do. Which always came with that strange howling whistling, oh noise. A percentage of people on Earth still behave as if there is nothing that can be done to stop it killing us all, in 1993. Like they are trained robots. Their inevitable doom attitude also felt it at some point, for sure. Suddenly missing your mouth with all the food because you say something that is not true happens to everyone at some point.